This is the first of the Scholars Advantage series talking about professional communication and classroom etiquette. This series is a group of engaging workshops with essential tools and strategies to help those that attend or watch it to thrive in college and beyond. So everybody says that college is preparation for the real world, though college is the real world. There's nothing fake about this, but we get to practice those skills before things become really real about them. So the series is meant to give you the tools to do that. Me, I am Miss Mollitiam, is how you say that last name. I am an assistant professor in rhetoric and composition. I teach Comp 1 and Comp 2. I've also taught the college success courses. Before I was a full-time professor, I have been in the communications world forever. In college, I worked at my college newspaper. I was the editor there, got a bachelor's in journalism, worked at newspapers, worked at marketing, doing communications, all kinds of stuff. So I actually got like a promotion for being able to write an email really well, really fast, which I didn't know was a skill. So that's part of the reason why I'm here to talk to you about communicating with your instructors and just classroom behavior in general. So we are going to start with email communication and how to do that, which not this. Do not start with an oh hey. If you have that kind of rapport in the classroom with your instructor, that's fine. But email communication should be a little bit more formal, especially because they're all public records too. So, there are 4 main things to talk about. First and foremost, please use your NWFSC email when communicating with people on campus. And I will discuss why in just a moment. Second is know the proper title for who you are communicating with. Whether that's a Miss, Mr., Mrs., Doctor, those people that paid for their doctorates really deserve to be recognized for that. They did lots of years and hard work. I am not one of those, so I don't want to take away from the people that have earned their doctorate. So it doesn't make sense when my students try to email me as a doctor. Do check your syllabus. There's a couple reasons for that before you send an email. And make sure you're using appropriate language. Not the, oh hey, what's up? When are we gonna do this? Basically, if you text it to your friend, do not put it in your email to me. Or if my child texts it to me, do not put it in your email to me. The reason you have to use your college email is FERPA. Most like the biggest reason. That is a federal law about education privacy. So we cannot confirm that you are a student with anybody except for you, and using your college email lets us know that it is you. We pretty much assume if it's coming from your email, you're the one communicating. If you email me from, Kandice123@gmail, I can't verify that that's you as a student. So I can answer broad questions like start and stop days for school, but I can't talk to you about your grade. I can't confirm your spot in a class. So just make sure when you're sending emails, whether it's to me or any professor, any department really, use your Northwest Florida email. It's also a good idea just to get in the habit of checking that every day. We do send emails out that are important. So mine go to my phone, but not everybody needs that madness in their lives. But checking your school email is important. Instructors do email you updates or class cancellations, or maybe we switch classrooms for whatever reason. It's just a good idea to check your professional email. School is work, even if you're a student. Again, knowing the proper title, Mr., Mrs., Miss, Doctor, Professor, Instructor. Just most of the time this is in the syllabus, or they've told you on day one, or they end their emails in that way. I am Miss Mollitiam. I like to tell my students that I'm not doctor. Professor works too, though I think when I'm just talking with people, that feels a little too formal for me, but I'm still getting used to the world of full-time teaching. So just make sure you're addressing people the right way. It's just like when you go anywhere, you want them to spell your name right, especially if you spelled it for them. You expect them to spell it right back for you. Same thing here. Then check the syllabus when you are sending an email. Many times students send us emails asking to meet to discuss a certain assignment or a grade, or to ask about an assignment. If you check the syllabus, you can find our office hours. So then you know when we are going to be in our office, and you know when to request a time to come by our office. We should also in our syllabus have our response time. So I know while I get emails sent directly to my phone, I don't always respond immediately because we do have lives. And so the syllabus should say when you should expect a response from your instructor or professor. You want them to be happy when they respond to you. So if you send them 5 emails and it hasn't reached their response time yet, they're not going to be as happy as if you waited for them to reach that response time. For me, I have 1 business day to respond. That is what I have set as the expectation in my syllabus. So if it's been more than 1 business day, which does not include Fridays on this campus right now, by the way. So if you email me Thursday, technically I have until Monday to get back to you. Don't know if I've ever done that, but that's a possibility. But if you email me every day in between then over the weekend, that's aggravating, right? So it's outlined in the syllabus. Some people are 2 days. Know the response time so that way you can manage expectations for yourself because I've set them. And then also some people will only do email. Some people will also communicate in Canvas through the messages in Canvas. Know which one your instructor prefers. If they are like, I never check my Canvas messages, and that's the only way you've been trying to communicate with them, that's problematic. So make sure you're checking that. My Canvas messages, I get an email alert for that. So they're all tied together. Not everybody has that set up the same way though. You can as a student as well do that. So that way you stay up to date with stuff. But know what your professor prefers. How they prefer to be communicated with. And then of course, use appropriate language. So I think that I don't have any sub-bullets under that, but I do have questions. Do you have your phones? Okay, I've not tried this before, so we're all gonna learn this together. If you scan the QR code, I think, it should take you to a question, and I can only have 1 question up at a time. So there should be 1 up right now, and then after you guys have answered, I will switch it to be another one. I have a few different ones. So your first question asks for the best way to request a meeting outside of class. And there's 3 different pictures there for you to look at. Is that what's coming up? Mm-hmm. Okay. Good. Good so far. I don't know how the texting thing works here. And on the recording, not all of these are going to work great, but.
So once we pick one, what happens?
I think it just tells me that you picked one. Yes. whatever, it shows like that little icon off on the right next to the one you picked.
Yeah, that's trash.
It looks like trash to me.
Yeah, it looks
Oh.
like a trash.
But it's not.
Is it a submit button?
I think so,
Okay.
because you can only submit once, so it's just telling you that that's the one you submitted.
Hopefully that's true.
It's all anonymous, so I don't know what you said anyways.
I want it to go away.
It will not go away, because I tried it last night and it wasn't going away.
Do you have 3 responses?
Do I have? Let me check.
I want to make sure I did this right.
I have 2 responses.
Uh-oh. Is it me?
I don't think she answered yet over there.
Did you answer yet?
No, I just got the internet.
Okay, that's fine, that's fine. And I might. I was gonna try and pull this up for the recording too. What? Oh my gosh, how do I not right click? I'm so sorry, you guys.
It's okay, you did mention we're all learning together.
This is not my laptop. Okay, so the first one, it does have a good salutation. Hello, Professor Mollitiam. This is Jane Doe from your Comp 1 class. When would be a good time to ask you some questions about our upcoming assignment? And what is problematic with this email?
You don't know which one, Comp 1 class?
I don't know which Comp 1 class, that's problematic. Ideally, I would recognize it from the name, but it depends on when in the semester we're at.
You don't know what assignment they were referring to?
And I don't know what assignment they're referring to. I have, and I don't know if you guys know this, at the college, we have 4 different sessions, so 4 different time blocks that classes are going on. So even if I'm teaching 3 different Comp 1s, they might all be staggered in different areas, so they might not all be working on the same assignments at the same time. So that's good. There's one more thing that the person who wrote this could be more proactive about,
Also looking at syllabus for your office hours.
right? So when would be a good time? Well, it's in my syllabus when I'm supposed to be sitting in my office, so that's gonna be the best time. Now, if those times don't work for you, by all means, say, I have to work during your office hours. Is there another time that's best for you? Or I'm free during these times. Is there any way we can meet during them? But at least demonstrate that you tried, that you did the homework to try to meet with me during my office hours. So then the third one's smaller, says, hey, I have a question about our essay. When can I come by your office?
There's just all sorts of.
Thing is that.
Where do we start?
Hey, comma. Start there.
At least there's a salutation. Sometimes there's not even that. So while it might say hey, at least there is an opening. Not the kind we would prefer for professional communication, and that's what we're practicing here. When you are emailing your instructors, it's just like emailing your boss. Or if you've never had a boss, then who you hope to be your boss one day. So practice that kind of professionalism. That is why the second option would be the correct one. So hello, Professor Mollitiam. This is Jane Doe from your ENC 1101-001. That's my section number. On Monday, Wednesday from 9:30 to 10:50. Perfect. Now I know exactly what class you're in. I can go to Canvas and I can pull up our class, see where we're at in the modules. I have a research question about the research requirements for our first writing assignment. Perfect. I know what you're wondering about, so I can have that pulled up when you come to my office. It says, can I come by during your office hours on Monday before class to talk about this? Yes, you can. I can have everything pulled up. I can be ready for the meeting, just like you should be ready for the meeting, which is just gonna expedite our meeting, right? If you just pop by my office, obviously I'm there. That is okay. You don't necessarily have to email for an appointment, but if you let me know you're coming by and why you're coming by, I can be ready. If you just pop in, then I gotta go find our class, and I gotta pull all that stuff up, and just a little heads up like this is wonderful. So now I'm gonna try and switch this up. Let's see. Oh, looky there. Okay. I wonder if I can make this bigger. I think on your phones it should have updated to the new question. Did it do it? Cool. Okay. Learning something new. So you must use your email to email instructors, professors, and different campus departments. True or false? True. True. Okay, good. FERPA. It's not just because we're mean. It's not because we don't want you using your Gmail. It's like a federal law as of right now that you use that email. That is how we confirm you are who you say you are. And that's also, it's for students. So for some of our dual enrolled students, we can't talk to your parents for you. There has to be a release form for us to do that. They can't email us, they can't call us. We cannot even confirm you are in our class unless there is documentation saying we can do that. And that goes for all students. So, one more question and then we'll move on to something else. You should look at the syllabus before requesting a meeting during office hours. Yeah, we agree on that, right? That is where our office hours are listed. It is on our syllabi. So please look at that. If you can't find it, that's okay. Then email your instructor and say, I'm having issues finding our syllabus. I really want to find out when your office hours are. Can you point me in the right direction? We really are here to help you, but we also need you to work on helping yourself so we can best help you.
Independence.
Yes, that's the real world, right? When you're all independent and big scary world out there. Okay, let me go back. We did this one. All right. Those are really the 4 main things about professional communication with your teachers. Making sure that you are using your correct email, making sure that you have, you're using appropriate language, you've outlined what it is you want to talk about, and you have proposed a time to do so. If those times don't work, then propose another time. Just show some problem solving. So moving on then to classroom etiquette. Broke it down. It's as easy as ABC, right? I know. It went in my head too. I'm so sorry, you guys. A, always respectful. We're in class, whether that is an online class or in-person class, always respectful. And then be present, again, online or in person, be present, and then considerate technology use. So I am going to break down each one of these a little bit more, and we'll have a couple questions to answer. So, respect in the classroom. Maintain eye contact. You're doing a great job. Thank you. You are so respectful. Our culture embraces eye contact to demonstrate that we are respecting, we are listening, we are engaging. That goes to the next one, active listening. This is with your instructors, your teachers, also your peers if there is a class discussion happening. We aren't just listening to respond, but we are actively listening to take in information. When we're doing active listening, we are also sometimes taking notes to demonstrate that we're paying attention, making eye contact, doing the head nods, the things that we expect. We are respectful to the college's property and to our classmates' property. So sometimes I'm teaching in one of the college's computer labs. This means we treat those computers with respect. We don't go around pushing a bunch of buttons on the computers just because they're not ours. That doesn't mean they don't break. So these things are expensive. Treat them with respect, just like you would anything else. Also your classmates' belongings. Make sure that you're not goofing off and messing with their things. Like if they were to excuse themselves to go to the restroom, don't take their stuff. Be respectful of their things. It's like the golden rule, right? Treat others the way you want to be treated. Just because we're, might be friends or in a classroom setting and, there's no parents around looking, that doesn't mean you get a free ride on everything. Also, respect people's personal space. Now, sometimes people have bigger bubbles than other people, and you don't necessarily know that. That's okay. But that doesn't mean, when I say personal space, I mean, like, don't touch other people. Don't grab their paper. Don't grab their pencil. Don't grab their phone. Don't, touch them jokingly if you're having like a side conversation, or even if you're doing a group project or something and you just, just don't touch other people. Respect everybody's boundaries and their personal space. Respect my personal space. I'm up here. My stuff is up here. You can come up here and talk to me, but you don't need to get behind my podium in my space. Right? Unless it's a group project and you have to give a presentation. If I invite you to my space, you can be in my space. Generally speaking, not so much. Makes sense, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Moving on to B, be present. You guys signed up for these classes. Be present in these classes. If you do need to be absent, if you do need to be late, if you do need to leave early, we understand that. We are humans too. We have lives too. So we just need you to communicate these with us. That might be with one of those, practicing that professionalism in an email thing. Good morning, Miss Mollitiam. I had the flu over the weekend. I woke up this morning. I'm still not feeling well. I don't think I'm going to make it to class. Can you please let me know what I'm going to miss and how I can make it up? I have a doctor's appointment that's going to require me to leave class 30 minutes early. Okay, cool. Here's what we're going to do in those last 30 minutes, and here's what you need to know before you come back to class during our next meeting. It's just all about communication and proactive communication. It is not helpful to come back 2 weeks later and tell me you had your wisdom teeth taken out and that's why you missed 3 assignments because of this planned surgery that you knew about and just didn't tell me. Especially, I personally have a no late work policy, so be proactive about that kind of stuff. The no late work can be finessed if there's open communication. If you do need to arrive late or leave early, please be cognizant of your surroundings. Don't slam a door. Try to, if the door is closed, try to listen for a natural break to try and come into the classroom. If I'm lecturing and I just am not stopping, then just walk in, but try to walk in quietly. If you have to leave, try to wait for a natural break to walk out. Don't slam the door if it's closed. If you have to take a phone call, that's going to come into the next slide, and it prompts you to leave. Don't answer the phone on your way out the door. Answer your phone once you get out the door.
Just when you're at the door, they
So you're not the only one in the classroom. So there are other people. Be cognizant of your classmates. They might actually be trying to pay attention. And some of us get distracted really easily. So if there is a big, I don't know, kerfuffle, is that the weird word I'm thinking of? Sure, I'll make that one up. Yeah, I should know these things. Going on as you exit my class, I might lose my track, right? I'm gonna get distracted. If I'm gonna get distracted, I know everybody else is gonna get distracted. So, be there as much as you can. If for some reason you can't be, communicate that. I will say one of my pet peeves, which I know is others' pet peeves as well, is if you are going to be absent or you were absent, asking if you're going to miss anything important. Never, ever, ever ask an instructor or professor if you're going to miss anything important. Why is this problematic?
Because the instructor thinks everything is important.
Right? I have had to whittle things down to fit into these 16 weeks. I feel like there is so much more I could be doing. I have picked the things of utmost importance, but everything's important. So yes, just assume you are going to miss something important and just ask what you're going to miss and how you can make it up. Assuming that you can. Again, keeping eye contact. Make sure you stay present in the moment. Minimizes distractions for you and for your classmates. Taking notes ensures you're present. Actually, writing down words, maybe visuals, but not just doodling. That is not being present. I expect and I hope for my students to be physically and mentally present. So however you demonstrate that. Being physically present is not enough. You need to also be mentally present. So that taking notes is one way to ensure you do that. That helps you not fall asleep in class, but it also gives you something to maybe actually look over like later when you're doing your homework. Incredible. And then using technology appropriately. If you are present, you are using technology appropriately. Which takes us to our C, considerate technology use. In each one of these, we're going to talk about cell phones, computers, laptops, and online discussions. So with our cell phones, please just use them minimally. I mean, mine is right here. It's with me at the front of class, every class. I have 2 children. Ideally, they would also only try to contact me in case of emergency. Sometimes that emergency is asking for Waffle House for dinner, which is not truly an emergency, but I can quickly look at it and say, I will deal with that later. Again, most of us are understanding that we have families and we have responsibilities and lives when we leave this campus. So having your phone around is not necessarily a big deal until you make it one. So as long as you're using it minimally. Sometimes they have a real question, like, what's the code to the front door? Okay, I should probably give that to you or else you're gonna be standing on the porch forever. So, 1 second, let me text this. Okay, moving on. Again, take your phone calls outside. If somebody calls and you must take it, if it's work, if it's family, whatever the case is, don't answer the phone where you're sitting. Don't answer it before you've exited. Go out to a commons area and have your conversation. Right? I think I forgot to mention at the beginning, I've been an adjunct teacher and now professor, and I was a GTA, so I taught classes as a grad student, so I've been doing this for a long time. I don't want to do it. I don't even know if I could do math, but we'll say between 15 and 20 years. So I've seen lots of things. Please take your phone calls also. If your best friend calls you, that might not be a phone call that you need to take outside. That might be one that you can hit the button and get later. Right? The last note on cell phones that I have is don't take selfies during class. Don't use your camera as a mirror to check your hair during class, or to curl your eyelashes, or check your chapstick. Make sure you don't miss your snack streak by taking a selfie during class. Don't post TikToks in class. Be considerate with your technology use. Just because we have these little devices that connect us to just about anything at any time doesn't mean any time is the appropriate time. Then with computers and laptops, use them for the assignments that are given in class. We have limited computer labs on campus. So if you have a class that's in a computer lab, it's likely because you need that computer for the classroom assignments. It's a privilege to be there in that computer lab with those tools. Respect those tools and ensure that you're using them appropriately. Some students bring their own laptops, or they'll use their phone for assignments, or tablets, or whatever. All the different technology. Again, use them appropriately for class. Don't play games. Don't conduct inappropriate searches. Typically we can tell who is using a computer when they're not supposed to, because one, can you hear this? Am I supposed to be doing this right now? No? Am I supposed to be doing this right now? No, I'm supposed to be engaged with you. So we can hear, and we can hear the clacking. Yeah.
What if they're using their computer to take notes?
Eye contact allows me to know that they are still engaged with the content and how their neighbors respond. Your neighbors will rat on you so fast they don't even know. They don't say anything, but if they keep looking over at you and looking at your screen, some people wear glasses, reflectors, right? You see those all day long. There's lots of ways to know. A lot of students do take notes. I would suggest that notes be handwritten, just because studies have shown that you retain that information better than if you type your notes. But I know typing moves faster than handwriting sometimes.
And there's also situations, like with accommodations, where they have to have the computer because they aren't able to take their notes.
Right, yeah. But you can still demonstrate you're engaging with the content and not just playing solitaire, or playing Fortnite or Roblox, or, Also, some people are not very good at containing themselves when they're playing games. And so it can become quite obvious when they're
A little disruptive.
Or, I know I'm funny, but I'm not that funny all of the time. So if they're staring at their screen, smiling, and I'm talking about library database research, we're not on the same page at all. So these are tools, the computers, the laptops, the tablets, whether we're in a computer lab or you brought your own, they're a privilege. It's awesome that we have Wi-Fi here, or just in general, Wi-Fi has changed our lives. When it works. And when it doesn't, we just go home and go find it somewhere else, right? But we won't have it if we don't use it appropriately, right? So we're gonna do that. And then, Canvas discussions in the online sphere, whether you have an online class or it's a class that uses online aspects for homework and assignments, again, be respectful to your peers. I know especially with online classes, there's this sense of anonymity that happens, and kind of like the, comment sections of social media posts and news articles, right? I feel like that's where like civility goes to die, are those online comment sections. Have you ever read them and been like,
They make me angry, so I'm trying not to.
right? I have to be in the right mood to really.
However, some can be quite funny.
Yes, some of them can. Sometimes I click on them just to see, just want to be a spectator sometimes. What is going on out there?
Blood pressure's high enough because it has
Canvas discussions, we at least have to, your name is attached to it, but if it's an online class with people that you are probably never going to see, that doesn't mean that the level of respect is any different than an in-person class or an in-person discussion. So maintain that kind of civility. Like my classes, I ask people to respond to each other on those discussion boards for in-person and online classes. Those responses need to be engaging and respectful. Just because we don't agree doesn't mean we have consent to be rude, right? So be respectful, and again, use appropriate language. Now this one might be, I might have a pet peeve because I'm an English teacher, but I think many of my colleagues would also agree using slang terms like gonna or not capitalizing the first person pronoun I just demonstrates that you're not that engaged with the assignment. So while you don't necessarily need to use preposterous language and vocabulary, you can demonstrate that you've spent time on the assignment and you're practicing your professional language and your formal academic language. No matter what, it is an academic setting, and in academia we do have different conventions and standards for language. So these places are safe places to practice that. But do so. Be respectful, use appropriate language, good ABC, always respectful, be present, considerate technology use. So, I think, let me just click this button. Okay, I think you guys have a new question. We have a few questions to get through. How do you demonstrate active listening? And I think you can only pick one.
Technically, you have 2 right answers on it.
I know. I feel like last night when I was going through this, I meant to change this question, but I did change some of them when I realized you can only choose one. I thought if I hit the green check mark, like it would let me, that meant you could pick more than one.
It's okay, we're learning.
Yeah, we're all learning. That's part of the reason I love teaching, is because I get to teach and learn at the same time. So how do you demonstrate active listening?
Eye contact.
Eye contact.
And head nod.
And head nods, right? Both of those. Not staring at a screen. So even if we're in a computer lab and it's like this and I just get to see like half of your face, it's still obvious if you're like this. Or if I don't see any of your head and you're laying in front of it. So don't do that. Stare at the screen when I've given you an assignment to do on the computer. Please, by all means, at that point, stare at the screen and don't talk to your neighbor. Both of those. Or talking to your neighbor is never okay unless you've been told to talk about these things with your neighbor, which you should stay on task. Also, responding to your peer by referencing their ideas or their name is another way to demonstrate active listening. So I know a lot of our classrooms are not set up as cool as this where we have tables, but we actually have like rows or computers, and so it's not always easy to put a face to somebody. You might just see the back of their head the entire semester, so you might not ever get to actually talk to them or get to know their name. But you can say, oh, to go off of the idea that the characters in this story did this, I think blah, blah. So now you're responding to others in a civil way, demonstrating that you are paying attention in class. Which goes to our next question. I think there really is just one right answer here.
Curse them out.
Obviously. When you disagree with a classmate's opinion, you should just walk out. Just be done with it. All of them. On your way out, be sure to curse them out.
Yes.
Right?
And use their name, by name.
And don't forget to ignore their contribution in the process.
Right? I mean, you might acknowledge their contribution by telling them it is such a stupid idea. You can't believe they said it. Put up the middle fingers and slam the door on your way out. Right? We've seen movies like this. These are all things we should not do.
Except for the last ones.
The Duff had that in it.
Which one?
The Duff. She curses out like one of her classmates, I believe.
And then does the double bird and walks out?
I'm pretty certain.
I know I've seen it before.
It has a Mae Whitman in it.
Terrible things. That's why I say it's okay to acknowledge ideas.
If you haven't seen it, it is kind of funny.
I'll have to watch it.
But the last one, raise your hand to respectfully respond. That is how you address and deal with your classmate's opinion. Or if you're a little helpless, no, I don't say little, but if you're a helpless introvert, like I was in school, still am, and I'm like conflict avoidant, so I probably will not say anything. I'll like take your ideas, and they're gonna stay with me, and I'm gonna take them out the classroom, and I'm gonna think about them and ponder them. I probably won't ever say anything though. Maybe to the people at home that, like, can you believe this? But
I remember what I did in high school. I don't remember how I responded.
was it bad?
I responded.
See, I don't remember.
I definitely responded.
I usually did not, unless it was like I'm adamant and I know my things. Like I don't want to get stuck in a
I
position.
argued.
Arguing is different than civil discourse. And I personally don't want to say something if I haven't had a chance to research it yet. So I might disagree with your ideas, but unless I know like exactly why I disagree, I'm not just gonna be like, well, that's dumb.
You might in your head.
Oh, definitely in my head. I have conversations up there all the time. But if I was brave enough to, or if I've done my research and I'm like, I know that this, whatever is being said is incorrect, or it's based on false premises or pretenses, then raise my hand, wait to be called, and respectfully give my opinion. Say, oh, I can understand how you got to that idea, but here's where my logic is, or here's what I think. Using a lot of I statements to stay respectful, not attacking a person and their personhood, but giving a new perspective. Okay, that is being respectful. Oh, new question. Your friend quietly exits the classroom for a short time. What should you do with their things?
Hide their phone.
Absolutely. Hide their phone, take their notes, or you do nothing.
That's what I did.
And you stay in your lane.
Oh, I misunderstood. Take their notes.
Oh, you meant like take notes for them?
Yeah.
Oh, that would be
That would be
nice.
kind.
That'd be a nice thing to do. So I could rephrase this to be a little bit more clear. I was thinking like,
Stealing.
yeah, you left your notebook there, you went to the bathroom, and I'm just gonna take that and I'm gonna put it under here, and so when you come back, you don't know where it is. Like I literally take their notes, which is not what you should do. Again, stay in your lane. They went to the bathroom or did whatever. Maybe they took their phone with them because they had to take that really important phone call out in the hallway. Cool. that does not need to impact your academic journey at all. So keep doing what you're doing. Don't do anything with their stuff. It's not funny, even if it is funny. It's not, like here. If you want to do that at lunch, then do it on your own time. But the classroom is not a place to pull practical jokes like that, right? So, oh, this is a good one. You're running late to class. What should you do? Okay. I used to do that. That is not the right answer.
E.
It is E, which is fancy. So A says skip.
Mom took me to the beach.
Yeah. Sorry. I mean, that's a good reason, I think. It depends on what you're doing.
Well,
Like,
so
you
in
like
her, so in her brain, the logic was if she was the reason I was running late. So this was back in like elementary school where they would give you, or middle school where they would give you a detention for being late.
Oh, she
So
wants
she-
you to get detention.
So instead of getting detention, she took me to the beach.
That's a fair trade-off. I mean, it was her fault anyways, right? In college, I was, again, that like hopeless introvert. And so I knew if I was late, like everybody's gonna stare at me. I do not want everybody staring at me.
In college, I was late and I think I had had an accident that morning. And I got yelled at by the professor for being late, even though I walked in there.
You know, these are general rules. Your syllabus has your professor's preference. I know I watch like Young Sheldon, and there's that one professor that he's late, and so he locks the door, you know, right when class starts. So if anybody's late, they don't get to come in. And it's a funny episode, but like I would never do that. I know many of my colleagues wouldn't do that, but again, this is a policy that is outlined in the syllabus. So read the syllabus. Generally speaking, if you're running late to class, don't skip because again, we do something important in every class. So it's better to get some of it than none of it. You should email your teacher. I get lots of emails or Canvas messages, because I do get them both, that says, I'm stuck in traffic, I'm gonna be a little late to class. In that case, the professionalism of the email is usually, you know, subpar, but I also understand that they are emailing me from the car. I don't want them to take the time to say, I'm so-and-so in this so-and-so class and make sure like everything is perfect. I just appreciate the gesture that they let me know. So if you can, try to let your teacher know that you're going to be late. If you have a good reason, mention it. If you don't, just say I'm running late. Quietly walk in when you do get there. Again, don't slam doors, don't take out your AirPods when you're walking to your seat. Don't push chairs out of your way. Be discreet about it. Please have your AirPods out before you get to class. This is just standard material that should also be in the presentation. If you have one AirPod in, you're probably not fully engaged with the lesson. So take your AirPods out, unless you have accommodations, right? It's definitely not all of the above, and so it'd be B and C. Email and quietly walk in if you're running late. Things happen. Car accidents happen. Traffic happens. It's about to be tourist season, so things are gonna get wild. I live about an hour from campus, so I tell my students, please get Canvas notifications for announcements, because who knows what could happen during that hour of me traveling here. So if something happens and I need to cancel class right away, if you get announcements sent to your phone, you will be alerted and you won't be as mad as if you were to show up for a class that got canceled and you didn't know about it because you didn't get alerted. So there's that. All right, a new question, similar. You have to miss class. What should you do?
Email
Email before. If you know you are missing class, email or stay after class and let the teacher know. Even when people let me know after class, like, hey, I have a tournament next Wednesday, I'm not gonna be in class. I'm like, great, thank you for letting me know, please email me too.
Because you may not remember.
Exactly. I have lots of students. I have lots of appointments myself, or I don't, my kids do. I don't have a life, but they do. So if you tell me, I need it in writing too, just so that way, if for some reason you did miss an assignment and Canvas automatically gives you a 0 because it's been marked late, you can be like, oh, remember I told you I wasn't gonna be here and you said to turn it in late? And I'm like, oh yeah, I got that, let me go fix it. So do not wait until after the next class to ask me what you missed. It's too late. Unless you didn't know you were going to be
Like
absent.
an emergency.
If an emergency happened. But still, you should try to email as soon as you can. Say, hey, I wasn't in class because of XYZ. Can you please let me know what we did? And again, I already talked about the anything important line. Don't ever use it. Email before and ask what you need to make up. Assume that there is something that happened while you were gone and ask what you need to do to get caught back up. If nothing, your teacher will tell you that and they'll be like, oh, I appreciate that they asked what they could do. What else? When I was in grad school, I was pregnant during one of those semesters, due in the middle of a fall semester because that was perfect timing. And so first day of the semester, I went up to my instructor, my professors, and said, I am obviously pregnant. I am due in October. I'm going to try and sit by the door, and I will let you know when I need to miss class. And then when I did have to miss class, I emailed them and said, hey, I had a baby yesterday. What do you want me to do so I don't get too far behind? And in fact, I was like ready to go back pretty soon. I had a toddler at home too, and my professors were like, take another week. Really? I need to be around people, not Daniel Tiger. Like, can I have a real conversation? But you know, they were pretty understanding because I communicated early and I communicated often about that situation. So we have 2 more questions left and then we'll be done. When is it appropriate to use your cell phone in class? There are several options here. Go all the way down.
Following instructions.
Reading all the answers. Reading all the answers.
Interestingly, there's no number 9.
I know, I couldn't come up with another one and I wanted to leave answers with even numbers only. So I was like, I'm making this. Who says there has to be a number 9, right? So,
I'm guessing it's number 10.
it's number 10. Answers with even numbers only. Because if I made that number 9, then that would rule out that one as the answer. So I needed it to be an even number and I didn't want to come up with another
Number
one.
9 could have been talking on the phone in class
Posting TikTok.
or posting TikToks.
I do have keep your snap streak. But yeah, I guess I could have. But, I mean, yeah. There are plenty of ways to inappropriately use your cell phone in class,
For sure.
including but not limited to checking your hair,
Oh, and playing games.
All odd numbers.
all the odd numbers, finishing and turning in your homework that was due that day. So FYI, for those of you that never see the teacher side of a Canvas course, many of these things that you turn in are time stamped. So if class starts at 9:30 and you turn in something at 9:45, odds are you were typing on your phone while I was teaching in order to turn that in. Now not only am I upset that it's late, I am also upset that you were not paying attention for the first 15 minutes of class. So, do not use your phone trying to be sneaky to turn in that day's homework. Don't keep your snap streak alive. I know it might expire during class. I mean, I guess you could discreetly take a picture of the floor. I obviously have teenage daughters. But that's not an appropriate way. Answers with all numbers only is incorrect. So the correct ways, there's lots of correct ways to use your phone in class. And again, there's probably a policy in the syllabus for each instructor, professor. We all treat things a little bit differently. But if you wanted to research an answer to an in-class question, use your phone. I'm constantly using my phone to research things. Like, when was the platypus discovered?
When was the platypus
I
discovered?
don't know, let's find out. Like, that's not something I've actually Googled, but
I have recently learned that it's not the only mammal that lays eggs.
what else do?
It is of a different, similar family, but a different type of animal.
1798 is when the platypus was discovered.
Nice.
Like, this thing can answer all kinds of questions for us. There's no reason that we need to blindly walk into some sort of discussion. We can answer these things, so let's do it. If you get an emergency text or call from your family member, by all means, like, those emergencies are more important than my class. Please take care of that. Again, discreetly excuse yourself and take care of it. Today we've been following QR codes, so if those are in a presentation in class, go for it. Set a reminder for an upcoming assignment. So my last slide that we're going to get to in just a moment. The next workshop is going to be about time management, which yours truly is also doing. And I have reminders set for everything. If I don't have a reminder, it's not going to happen. I have reminders to remind me to pick up my children from activities. Yeah, I'll lose track of time. During the summer, when I'm not here every day, my kids make fun of me because there's an alarm that goes off at 11:30 a.m. And they're like, why do you have an alarm set for 11:30? I'm like, just so I know where we're at in the day. Like, I just need to know where we are. What have I done? What do I need to do? Where are we? Because I also don't have alarm clocks in my house anymore. So, setting reminders. I'm okay if a student does that. Please, remember to do your homework. Last one. How do teachers know you're not using technology appropriately? All of the above. Keyboard clacking, which we talked about, it's clear.
Well, they can have dementia, but then let's repeat questions all the time.
But it's all of these, right? I mean, I repeat questions too, and I have students that are like, what'd you just say? And I'm like, I don't know. Reminds me, what were we talking about?
I feel like we're the same point.
Yeah. Like, I could have said anything in the last 5 minutes.
And it's always something that's like super important, like, oh man.
I know, I said it so eloquently, and I'm never gonna get that back. It's gone forever. But when the keyboard is just going to town, or the mouse clicking, especially the mouse clicking, oh my gosh. If your neighbors are constantly looking over at you. And sometimes if it's really distracting, which is unfortunate because some people are actually here to learn, and they want to be engaged with the content, but they can't because their neighbors are so distracting. So if that becomes the case, sometimes they will tell on you. They'll stay after class and say, hey, did you know so-and-so who sits in front of me, so I have no choice but to stare at his computer screen, is playing games the entire time. And I'm like, oh, thank you for bringing that to my attention. I'll be sure to say something. Constantly checking their phone. Again, there could be an emergency, and again, you can communicate that with your instructor. I've had students that are in the National Guard that are like, I might have to be called to go to Tampa for the hurricane that just hit. I'm like, okay, by all means, please keep your phone out. That's fine. But if it's constantly and they've not given me a good reason or any reason, repeating questions, like I just said, make sure you use MLA format for your works cited list, and then immediately somebody says, do we need a works cited list?
Check your syllabus.
Where you been? Right? And that's probably what I'm gonna say. I'm like, where were you at 20 seconds ago? Ask your neighbor. So all of the above lets us know when you're not really using stuff appropriately. So then, I think this is a little bit over, but kind of right on time. Started a little bit late. That is the end of my presentation on communicating with your professors and making sure you're behaving in class. And not just in class, but everywhere on campus. Use the facilities appropriately. Most of us know what we should do in a public restroom and what we should not do in a public restroom. What we should do in a stairwell and not do in a stairwell. What we should do in a windowsill and not do in a windowsill. Do these appropriately. Like, use the facilities as they are intended.